Hey guys, welcome to Panthers Forecast. I'm here in Charlotte, about to go to the Atlanta Falcons home opener. Yeah, we got to win this game. We almost was given pennies from the gods for with Tampa Bay almost losing to the Houston Texans, but they were able to pull out. But in this game against the Falcons, I'm really worried about Bijan Robinson, against our run defense. Just going through, just seeing how electric he was in his last game. And then also we're also having a hard time with tight ends. So hopefully our linebackers, Trevin Wallace and Christian Rosboom can get better with coverage because we can't allow Kyle Pitts to tear us up and then have Bijan Robinson. With Drake London, I think J.C. Horn does a pretty good job with him. So with their other wideouts with Atlanta, I'm pretty comfortable with us doing pretty good against them. It's just with Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson also feel a little weary about. And then also on the Panther side of the ball, we got to get Leggett in the game. But I'm still pounding this hammer when I say that we need to get speed on the field. So I would love to see Jimmy Horn hopefully in this game playing because we desperately need speed, and I think that would open up our offense and also open up something for Xavier Leggett. I do think that Tedora McMillan will have a good game. I think AJ Terrell, their corner, is out this game, so he could possibly get his first tutty this season against the Falcons in this game, as well as probably being beaten 100 yards receiving. And then as for Bryce Young, I'm really concerned about with Robert Hearn out, and then also with Corbett out. I think Cade Mays can fill in and do a good job, but I'm just sort of worried about Chandler Savala with this pass and when we get into our pass protection situation. I think James Pierce Jr. Well, James Pierce Jr. is not going to be playing this game, so that will help us out. Give us one less pass rusher to worry about, but still, Bryce has to learn how to navigate the pocket, get the ball out of his hand, unlike the Arizona game where, we had a chance, and I think he did have some guys down the field. I think he had Bryson Tremaine. He was on the other side, I think the right side. Bryce was going left before he got sacked by Calais Campbell. But Bryce has to maneuver better in this pocket. Atlanta has a more improved pass rush this time around. So he has to learn how to maneuver out of the pocket, get it out, dump it down to Chuba. Hopefully, we can start getting Rico Dattle into the game. It's weird. Our offensive line and how it's setting up the lanes are getting the push for the run. It doesn't seem as effective as it was like last year down the stretch. It just seems that every now and then you'll get Chuba going. You get like 3 or 4, but it just felt like last year he was just constantly pounding and pounding. And I was hoping that with Rico Dattle, that could add some like more energy to more like big plays. But our offense is looking pretty stagnant when it comes to the run. Our pass isn't that bad. It's just that it's only Leggett, and then every now and then Renfro can get a good catch. But we need speed. I just think on the offense we're almost there to having like a good offense. We just need to hurry up and get the explosive runs going. We need to get our speed into the deep part of the field. We need to get speed so that way we can capitalize on that aspect. But I think this game, I don't know what to say. I can easily see us getting blown out. Probably like us losing to Atlanta. Probably like 31-14. It can get bad in this game. But then also, if we prevent Atlanta from getting all the sacks, if we hold down to Bijan Robinson. And another thing with Bijan Robinson, he does fumble sometimes. So we do need to start pulling out the peanut punch method on Bijan. I think we in this game we can get him to fumble at least once and recover the football to take away a possession from Atlanta. So that would help. But I do think that if T Mac can go off and they can scheme up something better, then we can get Lizette, not Liget into the game without having to do these like silly wide receiver screens or doing these like jet round sweeps, which this isn't college. Like Liget's athletic and whatnot, but that's not gonna work in the NFL. Him doing these jet sweeps and what is he supposed to get like 20 yards or something, or is he supposed to go like get like 60 yards off of a jet sweep? He's not like who would be like Tyreek Hill. Like Tyreek Hill, I can understand a jet sweep, even if it doesn't work with Tyreek Hill and he only gets like 2 yards. But you know that he has that capability, that speed to just if one guy misses on the line of scrimmage, he can just turn it up for probably like 20, 40, or 60, or he can even take it to the house. Whereas Lee Gett, like even if he did make that one guy miss, I'd probably say he probably going to get at most maybe like 20, 25, but he'd probably get like 7. He doesn't have that really kind of like insane speed. He's very powerful. So, but once you get hit in the NFL and that slows you down, and then another guy comes, and so I don't think those jet sweeps are these wide receiver screens are our best way to get Lee Gett in the game. The best way to get him in the game is we have to get like some speed, or like even with Jalen Coker, he would run some good routes and that would take attention off of Liget. And then referring to last year when we had Adam Thielen, Adam Thielen was a good route runner as well, and that would take some attention off of Liget. And then we were actually running the ball a little bit better down that second half of the season. So. That would help get Liget in the game. And then to talk about last week's game against Atlanta, not Atlanta, Arizona Cardinals. You hear these all of these conversations with Bryce about how he plays well in garbage time and his stats are in great against garbage time, and that's starting to make me give some cause for pause. I like Bryce. I think Bryce is our quarterback, but I mean, there was that Green Bay game, and I know that Green Bay game they weren't in behind against Green Bay, but they were going toe for toe, and he had a good game against Green Bay. That would have been his like rookie year. Now I know we haven't had too many games like that with Bryce, but then again, the last stretch of the season, we play competitive against. Kansas City, we did come back. I know we were down by like at least like 2 touchdowns or so, but we eventually caught up in the fourth, and then Kansas City ended up winning that game on a field goal, and then the Eagles. If Leggett catches that ball and rolls into the end zone, then we pretty much beat the Eagles. Now they still would have had like a minute left to go down the field, and probably would have gotten a field goal to win it. But he has played good in the stretch. But it just makes me wonder, and I'm interested to see in this game. Can we start off good? I think Bryce is a good quarterback. I just think that with Bryce, you have to have everything set up. He's not like Cam Newton, where he's his mobility or his power can like overcome the gaps of the team. And something that I felt like is that the Carolina Panthers have never. Well, the Carolina Panthers were not really that good of an organization like I would say the Steelers or the Green Bay Packers, where they can build foundations like Green Bay. You got Brett Favre. Well, you got Bart Starr. You got Brett Favre. You got Aaron Rodgers. Now you got Jordan Love. You got the Steelers with. You had what is his name, Terry Bradshaw. Then you have Ben Roethlisberger, and even though they haven't been into a Super Bowl and some time, they're always putting out a good product. They're always having their quarterbacks ready, and the Steelers and the Green Bay Packers are like two NFL franchises that I think they have their quarterbacks always ready to go, or they just have a good system. They just really have a great system. The Panthers, we never really had that. Like, we had our chances to have that with Jake Delhomme. We went to a Super Bowl. We went to an NFC Championship, and I believe if Deshaun Foster didn't get hurt, we would have probably fared well better in that NFC Championship game against the Seahawks with Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander. But we and then there was that Arizona game with the 5 picks with DeLong. Cam Newton, we went to the Super Bowl in 2015, and then 2017. I think we should have possibly won again, but Kalen Clay didn't catch that fourth down conversion down in New Orleans. It went straight through his hands, and we ended up losing that game to the Saints, who would eventually lose to the Vikings on that crazy play with Stephon Diggs, and then they lose to the Eagles. And I actually think if we would have went to that Super Bowl in 2017, we would have beaten the New England Patriots, similar to how the Eagles and Nick Foles did. But back to what I was saying about the organization, the Panthers, we drafting Bryce Young, you have to have like a great offensive line. You gotta have a good receiving core. That's how he was more effective in Alabama. People call him this computer quarterback. He's super smart and all of this stuff. And but you got to understand, that's what it is. You got to think of it like a highly sensitive computer. That's supposed to be this like great thing. The moment something's off or not working, that affects the computer. Like the computer's not going to go because there's something off or wrong with it. And I think that's something with Bryce Young. We can see that. We don't have. I would say the best offensive line. They get them open a bit or so as far as him going into the lanes. Some of the lanes are pretty good, but I just don't think he's still comfortable in there. And then also his receivers. That's another thing. His receivers and also the play calling, they don't really seem to get him open quickly. And it's really strange. If Bryce goes left, like if he's in the pocket and he goes left, the receivers open on the other side, like on the right. And then if Bryce Young goes right, like he's in the pocket, and you'll notice this, you'll see it in like some of the films, if he goes right, the receivers to the left are open, or they're like wide the hell open, like just way down the field. So that's something that I think we gotta also correct. That can't always be the case. That Bryce is always, he's running, he's on this side of the field, but the receivers are open. We gotta have him on the right side of the field where the receivers are getting open on it, and that's pretty much it on that part on with Bryce. But yeah, I'm here ready at the game, and then I'll have reactions after the game, and then definitely take some photos and have some videos. And still new to the YouTube, still learning how to edit videos, and then I'll start trying to get these bad boys popped out and added into the video, and have the content get better. But yeah. We gotta win this game, man. We gotta win this game. We cannot lose. If as long as we contain Bijan Robinson, and as long as Bryce isn't getting sacked, and Chandler Zavala can, and also Akeem. Yeah, we need Akeem to also step up, and then also Taylor Mode, and he had one of those. I actually think that was who when that stunt didn't work initially with Caius Campbell. I think it was Taylor Moden. He was pushing back, and then he eventually got the sack on Bryce Young to end the game on in Arizona. So that didn't help. And I'll say this about the Arizona game. If we would have had Robert Hunt in the game, I think we would have probably won, or we would have had a better flow. But him being out for the year is well, potentially the year is it's going to be interesting. But I mean, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about the draft with the Panthers and how the Panthers need to possibly look at a quarterback. But we'll talk about this later on during the season and whatnot. But it's just probably not the best year for that. I do think that we gotta go with a linebacker or a offensive guard in the first round. Actually, I think we need to maybe dedicate our first three picks to a offensive guard. Well, not an offensive guard, but an offensive lineman, maybe another tackle, a guard, a center, or we need to get address a linebacker, or maybe depending on our cap situation. I thought we were going to have a lot of money in the cap this year. I'll check that out later. We can probably bring in a veteran linebacker. I do need. I do need. I actually like that idea to bring in like maybe a high priced veteran linebacker or a yeah that sounds good, or maybe like a I really want to go young with the offensive line, so I would definitely love to see Bryce Young have a like a young stud offensive line in the first round draft. But that's my plans on that. And then as far as the game, just bringing it back in, I we can we gotta win this game, but yeah, we can beat Atlanta. We just gotta again contain Bijan and don't let Kyle Pitts beat us. I think our corners can hold down Drake London, and we have to get Leggett into the game the right way. We can't be doing these silly jet sweep plays. We have to get Leggett into the game the right way. Uh, I would I would really love to see Jimmy Horn get a chance because I think that's just the thing with the offense. We need speed, and then also we need to get our running game going down better. And then also the last part, we may need Dave Canales to hop off the sticks and give the sticks to Brad Isaac and let him. Be the OC and call the plays for the game. But yeah, that's it for the Panthers forecast and getting ready for the game. And yeah, you guys take care. Bye.